Wardy, we're not throwing the players under the bus either.
I'm just going back to the first time I casted Drogo in this season, that's all.
Down here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have the blue Zerg player. He is on fire from Rye Esports. He is Bly.
Yeah, both these players on Raise Your Edge, so it's a team kill. What's really funny to me though, PtitDrogo, is you can't actually see this on the overlay, but Drogo is in Rye 1 and Bly is just in Rye. So is Bly better because he's in the original, or did Drogo just kind of like ascend above and he's like Rye 1 now? He's the main team. I don't know.
That's a great question, and it really does make you wonder, because it's, usually you see Rye 1, you're like, oh, maybe there's like a Rye B team or something, or maybe Raise Your Edge Gaming came up, got founded after the clan tag RYE had already been taken, so they just got Rye 1. But then Bly is just chilling there with RYE as the clan tag. Like, that actually makes no sense.
What else could RYE stand for, though, PtitDrogo? You're good with words. I've read your Twitter.
Oh God, it's too early, man. Why do you keep throwing me under the bus?
That's not throwing you under the bus. That's giving you a platform to excel.
See, that's here's the thing here is that you're like, here, let me show you, like, you're setting me up. You're like, here, let me show you to your car, good sir. Except the car is, like, the key's already in the ignition. The car is driving, and I'm trying to get in while it's moving, and I'm like, oh no. That's how I feel right now, Wardy. All right, this has been a heck of a way to wake up today.
Well, the StarCraft's going to be a bit kind of to you, because considering it's Bly, it's a pretty peaceful start. We don't have a hatchery on a rich Vespian gas. His natural is in his natural. And Drogo's going for a Stargate, so we're not going to be flooding adepts across the maps very soon either. And the Stargate really has just resurged as the way to play PvZ, especially against Bly. It's just safe. There's no risk of involved, really. And especially now the Void Ray is our real viable option. It even gives you a bit more pressure on the map, and maybe you can do something about this rich Vespian gas that Bly sets up now.
Yeah, and I'm totally with you on the whole Stargate opening just being the way to try and open up against Bly. I feel like there was maybe just some conversation in some Discord out there with all the European Protoss players being like, all right, so guys, we just agree, like, everyone opens up Stargate versus Bly because it's just the safe option. It's just how you deal with his shenanigans and have something there to make sure you don't die. Yep. All right, cool. We're good.
Do you think this Discord channel has like a channel called the Blyepedia, where they just list every stupid thing Bly's done against them, so you can just be like, right, another thing to check for when I play versus Bly?
I'll actually tell you, like, I don't know what the Discord is, but I know that the way those Discords are set up, and it's going to be a chat. It's literally just a channel dedicated to what Bly complaints. Like, I can't believe Bly went and did this.
Yeah, as well. I mean, Drogo gets in here. Yeah, she's going to be real happy with that. 3 drones. The only good thing for Bly there is he didn't pull any drones away, which means that he kept on mining, so he didn't take like a big eco hit from pulling the drones while also losing drones. So that was more or less a little bit better for Drogo, but not end of the world for Bly.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bly is going to have those spore colors coming on up. Now, we did actually get to see Bly going for this forward gas geyser expansion versus another Protoss player before. And I think we didn't quite get to see where it was all going to turn out, because I think the Protoss player ended up being a bit more aggressive before Bly really got to get into his groove in his game. So I'm really interested to see how he's actually planning to follow all this up with that extra gas coming in from that low ground Vespian.
Well, Drogo's being pretty safe, right? Triple Oracle, it gives you a lot of offensive options, but it really just adds on extra defense too, right? Because those are Oracles which are going to have a lot of energy for, say this turns into a Ravager attack, right? That makes a lot of sense. He's got extra gas. Those Oracles are really good at target firing down Ravagers. If he pulls the Queens with it, then it's extra firepower to get rid of the Queens quickly, so the Oracles maybe still remain useful. Not so useful if you fly and lose them, though, and that one just gets out alive.
Yeah, got to be a bit careful with the control now, though, because the Oracles are separated. So normally if you just want to have them all in one hotkey group, like, you can't actually just move them all around. One Oracle just sitting up in the top left, while these 2 Oracles in the bottom left going to be trying to find some damage here. Managed to find 2 more drone kills and get out of there alive with some hit points left over. Ooh, love the little sneak in back there. All 3 Oracles now in the red, Wardy.
Yeah, it's a shame, though, because you didn't see any roaches being made, and this is turned into that all-in stage from Bly. 38 drones, nothing extra to be added here.
No lair.
But he sees a queen moving across the map, so this is really good. So now he knows, in theory, as the Oracle trying to play dodge jumps up on the top side. So now you know what's up for sure. That Dark Shrine eventually is a complete shutdown because there's no detection, as you just mentioned. But before then, I'm a little worried about Drogo. He is actually slipping up hardcore in his macro. He had 10 probes queued up across 2 nexus at some stage. So he really is late on gateways. And I don't know if he really has any units to defend this initially.
That is really, really scary, because you're right. The Dark Shrine can be a hardcore shutdown on this, but you actually have to defend your wall. You can't let them just break through, because the Dark Templar will eventually clean this up, but you actually need to keep your probes alive until the DTs clean up all the links, clean up all the roaches. Now, these Oracles already picking off a decent number of these links, but remember, with their energy active, they're almost all out. They're actually just been using their energy over here, dancing around, trying to pick off a few links here and there, and now they have nothing. They can't really contribute very much to the fight anymore.
But they bought so much time, right? Because this could have already been Blythe just moving into the natural expansion. It bought Drogo time. Was it enough time? It looks like Drogo never really intended to save the third base. He didn't try to build shield batteries here or anything. As he moves out, he does grab a queen, but there's still 4 left. I don't think that's going to be the deal breaker. What will be the deal breaker is the Dark Templar, and that's part of what he was buying time for. As they show up, Blythe's got to go run. He's got to start up a lair, and I mean, even just standing here to try and kill off this Nexus is becoming expensive. The Lings can maybe stay on it, but that's a lot of Ravages and Queens that are just dropping away.
Yeah, and even the Oracles are managing to survive. The Queen does not get the final couple of hits off on that Oracle. The Nexus goes down, and a few of these Ravagers will survive. Bly trying to do some nice, cute micro here to hit the DTs, as well as the Zealots that are charging them down. But this is actually, even though Bly gets the third base, this is a really, really scary spot. He's going to lose basically his entire army, and he doesn't get a chance to re-drone after this. He doesn't get a chance to invest in a lot more tech. Yeah, he's got the lair, but that's like a desperation, I need detection lair to survive.
Yeah, he's very far behind tech-wise, and the Lings will not find a run by. They may be able to cancel the third again, but that doesn't save you from this attack right here. And now Roach is coming up. Well, so what? Okay, you've got a Spore Crawl in this base, but once that goes down, you're still waiting for an Overseer. DTs will do a lot more. You can see these Oracles just going to dive back in, try and get rid of some of the Queens. Anything they can find. There's just not enough damage output to get rid of them. As the Lings come back, but the Archons are made for dealing with Lings. Low hit point units that stack up. The splash damage there is great, and Drogo has way too much as he kicks game number 1, and Bly looking a little disappointed. That Dark Shrine absolutely saved Drogo, combined with the Oracles to buy some extra time. That went from being really, really dangerous to being just right on the defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's exactly like you said. If the Oracles don't buy the time there, again, like, Bly has the opportunity to potentially break through that natural expansion. And once the natural expansion is broken, that's when Bly can just say, okay, yes, there are DTs here, but I can just go kill your probes. In this situation where he wasn't able to break through, he's like, yeah, the DTs are here, but at least I can kill your third. But he loses so much in the process. So really, really well done there by Drogo. Just like, honestly, all the right tech choices to deal with a Bly on Everdream.
Well, our next map, PtitDrogo, it's very different to Everdream. Ice and Chrome. This is not the sort of map you walk Queens across, unless your name is Bly, because then you kind of do whatever you want anyway. You know, Bly, you know, most players prepare like a strategy per map, and it plays to the strengths of the map and so on, whereas Bly is actually just picking one, you know, he's got one hat here. He's like, ooh, Ice and Chrome. He picks up, you know, the build order hat, and he's like, wow, 12 pool. He's like, okay, let's do this. So never count options out from Bly here as we go into Ice and Chrome for map 2. He could do a bit of anything, but for me, this is already a bit of a safer one for Drogo to play.
Yeah, I really, really wouldn't doubt if Drogo was feeling pretty confident about this series after that first game going his way on Everdream, which can be a bit of a trickier map, I feel like. I think sometimes that is the map that when Zergs want to get cheeky or tricky, that's one of the maps I think of that can make it through vetoes consistently, but you got to be careful on. Now with Ice and Chrome in his kind of back pocket over here, he can lock down a 2-0. Remember, there is actually a decent bit on the line over here because the winner of this series is basically just guaranteed to go to the playoffs, potentially top 2, depending on how Stefano does in his series. So Bly, very, very close to a situation where he potentially might not make the playoffs.
I know, and that would be disappointing for Bly. It's definitely somewhere he sees himself being able to get to. No, he doesn't expect to be top 2 all the time, but he knows he can compete to be, you know, top 16 in Europe. Is in the top right. Our blue Zerg player is Bly.
And over in the bottom left-hand side of the map, we have the red Protoss player from Razor Edge Gaming. He is PtitDrogo. Do you see a drone making its way across the map, Wardy?
Very Bly thing to do. He's gonna get the block on the natural, so this is straight away. It's straight away kind of exactly what you kind of expect this to be, right? Not really too surprising that Bly gets that block off. At the same time, Drogo is going to be able to block the natural, so Bly will be forced to a third location. And Drogo's just going to straight up go double gate against this, which means he doesn't pull many probes against the hatchery. He will just look for 2 zealots into 2 adepts, and that gives him a huge amount of counterattack potential once this hatchery is cleaned up.
Yeah, but that Cybercore is still going to be able to go down immediately after that first gateway finishes, so the tech will be on point. He'll have those kind of follow-ups ready and waiting. Bly going for that forward third base is, it's a kind of interesting move. I mean, it's a very Bly thing to do also. Just say, like, I'm going to have bases that are closer to you so I can attack you and rally units out faster, but it's going to take Drogo a hot second to realize, all right, let me check the other base. Oh, yep, there it is.
Yep, just making sure that there is a base going down, right? Tells him that isn't overly committed to doing something with this hatchery. And as you can see, that Zealot swipe in second one to join. And look at that from Bly, already an evolution chamber going down. Now, Drogo will see that super early on. That, I mean, that's a really fast evolution. That's not an evolution chamber, that's this one, but what am I thinking?
I was like,
What am I talking about? I actually have no idea. Right.
See, I didn't throw you into the bus. Yeah, I didn't throw you into the bus.
Under the bus.
I just watched you walk onto the street. I saw the bus coming. I just chose not to say anything.
You know what it is as well? The worst thing is I turned and saw the bus coming as well, because I was like, what am I talking about? Amazing.
Is there a bus? Yeah.
I was going to say, like, 2-minute Evo chamber. Like, this man's a madman.
Well, still, you're right. He is still a madman over here, but I'm worried. Okay, there's going to be 2 zealots moving across the map over here. They're going to wail away at this hatchery. The funny thing is there are actually a decent number of Zerglings coming on out. Does Drogo, after he sees like 10, 12 Zerglings coming on out, would you just recall here?
I mean, you can, but honestly, 2 Zealots and 2 Adepts trade really well here anyway, right?
Oh,
they're slowlings, and you're still denying the hatchery on the natural. The big thing is that Bly's got a hatchery on the left side, and if Drogo doesn't realize that, roaches are going to start pouring out of it, and that may be an issue, but he is going Stargate as the next step, so I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely buying a lot of time over here. You're right. These Zerglings in this number are not quite enough, especially without speed, to take on this fight. But Queen pops out. Another Adept shows up over here. And as long as Drogo is buying time over here and not losing a bunch of these units, that's just not going to happen at that kind of choke point, right? He's going to have the opportunity to recall later. And yeah, there it is. He's actually already forced out a bunch of units, which, let's be real, Bly was already planning to make. But he feels like he's forced out a bunch of units. He's delayed any droning. He's delayed any mining that was going to happen over there. And he saw, yeah, there's a lot of units out. You just have to be prepared for an attack now.
Yep, going to be seen. Oh, he did have a Void Ray on the way, but he decides against it. The Void Ray was the right call for your Dragon. The Void Ray against roaches. The thing is, Drogo just, he's blind. He doesn't know about that base on the left side, and he kind of made the read, but then he didn't. I'm a little rough frame right here, because the Oracle alone, it's nice. It's just a Void Ray would have been that much better.
I'm definitely with you on that. The nice thing is that if he does see this attack coming on in right afterwards, he will have the opportunity to try and make a Void Ray afterwards. And remember, Void Rays do make a little bit faster. Oh, but the floodgates have to be opened up because of the corrosive vials from those roaches. Oracle's going to be able to get a lot of value over here and dodge out of the way. The corrosive vial is killing off so many of these lings. Yes, it does seem like there's not that many probes left alive over here in the natural expansion here for Drogo, but I mean, Bly has to do a ton of damage to make this work.
Yep, just going to be seeing a couple biles off on the pile at the front. If he loses that pile, that's obviously a big issue, right? But
yeah,
I don't think he will. This Ravager's going to go down, and new Oracle is out. At this point, the Oracle's turned out to be okay, right? He actually just had a way better defense than I really expected this to be, considering he was so blind against it.
Yeah, he is not going to get blindsided in this game, as the Void Ray is also going to be coming on out to add that consistent DPS that the Oracles have not been able to offer. Shield batteries finishing. I feel like that is the final kind of cement wall that Bly just does not have the power to actually break through very easily anymore.
Yeah, I mean, even if you knock the gateways down now, at this point, Drogo, he's obviously able to fight even if the Lings flood in. He's got a Void Ray about to join. And Bly's only on 18 drones. There's not really, much of a transition away or out of this at all. It's a little bit rough, honestly. I mean, what are you going to do? Queens, Lings, Ravagers to get into this natural. You might be able to break into the natural, but I really just don't see what happens beyond that, right? Because you've got the second pylon power and the shield battery still. You've got a Void Ray out as well. And I mean, eventually you're just going to have enough, anti-air to get rid of these queens. And once those queens go down, I don't think anything else really dies.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of thinking about it. I do like the Bly's at least getting some more creep spread going further, a tiny bit further forward. That's going to cover up some of this area, so it's going to be harder to re-wall, but shield battery does get popped over there with the overcharge. A couple of links managed to sneak their way on in. Didn't even notice those, but he's going to be able to at least split up Drogo a little bit, but he cannot take a fight while that shield battery overcharge is still active.
Yeah, the overcharge is just so powerful, and what's kind of scary here for Bly, I feel, is like he's forced to overcharge, but I don't know if he can fight in a game before the next overcharge is ready, Like, I don't think he can make a difference before Drogo's ready to go again, and Drogo's even getting adventurous. He's realizing, oh my god, you have like nothing here. And he's starting to adventure out of his own natural every now and again, just to get a few extra shots off, because he knows he can fall back to those shield batteries very comfortably.
And you actually look at the situation and you're like, oh, well, I mean, Bly is only a few drones down, but you can actually see that Drogo is making more workers right now. And it's just the fact that Bly doesn't have anything to fall back to. He doesn't have a layer behind all this. He doesn't have a bunch of upgrades or an Evo chamber. He doesn't even have a third base on his side of the map right now. Like, he is 150% all in off of this. He has to find a way to make this work. And if he doesn't, well, that's the series, Wardy. That's all he can do in the group stage.
Yep. I mean, at that point, Bly is just hoping for that Lambo result to come through so he can still get through to the playoffs. As we do have Queens here fighting these couple of Oracles, the Void Rays, having a back off as well. I mean, this is the thing. Bly is kind of containing Drogo, but to what, what end? 20 drones? He's added 2 drones since the start. It's not like there's a transition away from this, really. And yeah, Drogo's army may not be getting way better, but it's still kind of just, good enough against what's here. Now he's going to get rid of these queens, and once these queens are gone, the Void Rays can kill everything else, and Bly is going to be falling apart right now.
Yeah, he's just going to try and move in because he has no other choice. This entire army is just going to get pushed back by a good old Void Ray Oracle army. Although, oh man, those Scrolls of Battles managed to hit their mark, but not quite enough DPS to actually finish any of them off. The Void Ray is the consistent DPS. One Void Ray might go down. Well, that's a nice snag there for Bly, but again, he is hoping for a lot more. This is actually a pretty nice start over here. If we can get both of these pylons, at least that's going to depower, I believe, all of the gateway production. Now, there's one gateway still left powered, so I guess the hope here is that Bly is going to say, well, I hope you don't immediately push out because you're going to have delayed production.
Yeah, it's nice. It's just too late to be meaningful, right?
Yeah.
Bly is droning up. I like that he's killed a few workers, but none of this fixes his problem in this game, which is that Drogo is in at double the army supply, and there's just not really a good way to answer that. Like, the best way to answer that is the fact that, okay, maybe Drogo can't get across map to do anything, but now you're losing drones as Bly, and that's so expensive as these Oracles to even catch a Morphing Ravager, and I don't know what those Corrosive Plasma were meant to do. Maybe catch the Oracles as they flew into the main. But yeah, this hatchery goes down. That means Bly is losing some of the production he's been somewhat reliant on. As soon as Drogo gets kind of creep cleared and he rewalls the natural, he can make a push that ends this game. That might not be super quick to happen, but I mean, he could actually bring the Oracles back and revelate some of those creep tumors. I really wouldn't mind that, just again giving himself this rewall at the front, because that lets his army go across the map and do so much more.
So Wardy, I do not in any world want to paint this as a picture of like Bly is maybe he's okay. Like, it's not. Bly is very much so not okay right now. But there are a few things I will say that at least he does have going for him. Like Cybercore having only just been rebuilt now does mean that additional tech is not going to be coming out for a while. If Bly can figure out how to deal with this air army, which is honestly still just a really, really big problem right now. Even just the queen count getting reset so many times, that's been really tough. But if he can find some way to deal with the air army, Drogo doesn't exactly have a crazy number of gateways just yet. I feel like he would at least have had a chance to try and drone up and get up some answers, but he's just been taking too much damage. Wardy, it's 28 workers to 40 now, and Bly still has not finished up his third hatchery.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible every way you look at it. The only good news is arguably that Drogo's tech is slow, but then you look at Bly and you're like, well, what tech do you have? Have you built a tech structure this game? Like, does a Rotron count as a tech structure? You're still on one gas here, and that's actually more, that's more gas than you can spend. That kind of, to me, says that you don't have any tech. So, yeah, it's, like I said, I mean, it's just a committed attack. It's committed for a reason. And, yeah, Drogo can't go across the map to instantly end the game after, but, that's because he's just playing it safe, knowing he can end the game 2 or 3 minutes from now if he's just patient and sets up properly. As I mean, this Void could have got another couple of kills there, perhaps. But again, at the end of the day, doesn't matter that much. Drogo is slowly making some progress out, starting to clean up some of this creep spread. And again, once he gets that wall on the natural, he might just start feeling safe enough to move out. He's going to have extra tools such as +1 charge coming in. And he has got that robo facility up now as well, so you can even add a warp prism in. And just again, continue moving on in this game. Nice force fields. A feeling slip into the main, and again, it's the one thing that Bly's doing a really good job of.
Yeah, he's been able to consistently get a couple of these Zerglings in to just kill off not even a ton of probes, but just a few probes here and there, and slowly try to even things up a little bit. Nice control over here. But I mean, this is very much so the Bly way for a game to end, where he is not exactly in the best situation, but he's going to give it all he's got. Kills off a Void Ray, but when the Oracles start joining in with their DPS, I want to remind you, Wardy, there's no Spore Claws at this base.
Yeah, if this queen goes down, that's kind of a problem, right? Because then you just don't control your natural. And it might only be the Void Ray left here, but the Void Ray is good enough on its own. Again, good job by Bly. He got 7 probes at home. At Drogo's side of the map. It actually makes the work count even for the first time in forever, but it's still not really a good thing, right? You're kind of being like, oh yeah, I'm even in work. That's not good, right? Like that's not something to celebrate in the slightest.
Yeah, exactly. Oh boy, this is a really, really tough spot for Bly to be in right now.
I know.
But man, he is really, really trying to fight this. Another queen's gonna go down before the second queen arrives at the scene. Drogo is actually he's starting to just win this game with like singular units being rallied out of a Stargate.
Yeah, no, it's kind of crazy, right? Like, well, it's not because of how it opened, but that it's just a really good example of just the position where we're in. That Bly can't even get a spore crawl up on his own natural expansion 12 minutes in. I mean, now he's oversaturated big time in the main base. These are drones, but even though he's equaled up the worker count, he's not even mining properly with those workers. I'm sure Drogo's got a bit of oversaturation problems of his own, but it's just rough. Like, it's difficult to commentate because it's hard to be, we don't want to continue to be negative about Bly, but like, there's nothing going his way. There's nothing good for us to talk about. Does he have any sort of like comeback potential? I honestly don't think so.
Well, Wardy, I'm gonna make things actually a little bit worse. I'm gonna say that Stefano's actually 1-0 up against Lando, apparently.
Wow.
And remember, if Stefano wins, Bly doesn't advance to the playoffs. If he loses in this game, which is looking very likely right now.
Well, we're gonna see. I mean, this is the push we've been talking about for a long time, right? There's a little bit of an extra build-up, a bit of a long time build-up into this, but we finally get here, and just as Bly is finally allowed to mine from his natural, he loses his third base, and Drogo just says, cool, you're down on 2 bases. I'm taking my own third. Again, taking a very calm and collected approach to the rest of this game.
Yeah, it's a tough situation again for Bly. I feel like we've been talking a lot about that, but really, really well done by Drogo. I feel like this is what we were talking about at the beginning of this series, where Drogo played really, really well in just doing that safe setup for everything. And like, even in game 1, we go back to Stargate opening being extremely, extremely good versus Bly, and we just actually literally saw that a little bit in this game. But even in that last game, the Oracle's buying a lot of time. Like, the Dark Templar follow-up is just such a good reaction to any Zerg player that doesn't get a lair and is trying to all-in you. Like, Drogo just approached this series with a lot of thought of like, all right, this is Bly. How do I make sure Bly can't kill me if I know he's good? I don't know if he's gonna all-in me on 1 base or 2 base or 3 base, but I know he's gonna all-in me. So with that information, what build order choices do you go for? And Drogo did an excellent job of choosing.
Yep. Nah, I mean, that's the thing, right? You just got to play safe against Bly, but not too safe, so that you go behind if he does play normal. And I think Drogo found a good balance for that, because I was scared for Drogo, right? So he didn't play completely like blind counter, I'm super safe all the time. He played, safe enough that I was still a bit scared when these all-ins came. And I think that's the right level, and obviously in the end he responded correctly. He never really had much trouble, and once he got past the difficult parts, he got to this point here. And I think Drogo has shown us he's definitely a strong enough player to justify being, in the playoffs. And at this point, remember, he might even get top 2 if that Stefano result continues going that way. He could get top 2 and go straight to the winner bracket, which is obviously like, that's massive.
Yeah. Well, here comes the big death push. He's gonna knock out another hatchery. I'm gonna actually be so sad if Drogo just retreats after killing the hatchery.
I know.
But I also wouldn't blame him. Oh, is he gonna get the lair?
I mean, the thing is, though, like, he's killing the lead at the same time. I think he's just like, you know what, let's just attack. He knows how far ahead he is, and at some point, there's just no point going home any longer, right? You know how low-tech your opponent is. You've really hit that master. You've got Immortals and Archons and a good army to back it up. And it just doesn't make sense to back away and let, you know, Bly make another hatchery and try and build more units. As